Living on a hobby farm has taught me anything. It's the importance of being nimble and agile. And in my normal line of work, agile is a word that's used quite a bit. I sometimes wonder if people really know what that means. It does have to do with adaptability. It also has to do with feedback loops. And in my world, on a hobby farm, a lot of the feedback loops are given from Mother Nature herself. Specifically, time to quit because it's raining, time to work because it's nice, and because the work needs to be done. Something doesn't work because it rots or it breaks. And if anything in physics has taught me anything, it's about entropy and how everything in the world has a tendency to break down. It's there for a limited amount of time. Additionally, there's a whole lot that we think we have overpowered. And it's true, our intellect, putting our collective minds together, has made us a dominant force on this planet. But I think about a quote from one of my TV shows. We've learned to live on the planet and not with it. Without getting too philosophical, I think that's something worth investigation and thinking and reflecting on. And it's important to realize that it's a constant struggle if you're trying to live on the planet to ward off Mother Nature. This is one of the reasons I love motorcycles so much, and living on a hobby farm really drives that home. If you don't do regular maintenance, it doesn't take long before Mother Nature comes in. And if you don't believe me, watch some of the videos, the fascinating videos about the abandoned mansions and people exploring them. Of course, humanity helps through vandalism to create entropy and dissolve those monuments to human existence, but Mother Nature does her own magic very quickly. First, we're going to talk a little bit about this building. And this part here, I built, it's one of my first outbuildings about 12 or 13 years ago. And you can see the roosts and the bin, and you can probably guess it's a chicken coop, and indeed it is. This was built as an addition. A friend of mine and I put it together thinking we would make it one of those rolling coops around the yard, but then proceeded to build it too big. It has lasted about 10 years, and I'm in the process of taking it apart in order to build a run with the new building. Now, before I show you the new building, you'll see that the paint is peeling and we haven't stayed on top of it like we should, and lo and behold, there's some rot in the siding. Now, that's nothing I can't fix, and I intend to do that in the main part of the building. And the roof, unbelievably, has never leaked, even though I've gotten much better about handling roofs. This rolling cart was never meant to be a permanent fixture, and well, I'm just going to, like I said, disassemble it. And as I'm doing it, I'm harvesting hardware. And you may ask, well, how cheap do you have to be in order to harvest old hardware and screws and things like that? And I'd say, yeah, okay, maybe I'm a little bit cheap, but I spent a vast majority of my life throwing these things and not finding a way to reuse them. And I'm not saying be a hoarder, not at all. I'm just saying it's a shame how disposable society has become, and how we take perfectly good things and throw them in the landfill without a second thought, just because it is a little work to reuse. And I'm actually baffled by that on reflection, especially with everyone talking about how important the environment is, and we don't spend enough time talking about upcycling. But I'm going to get off that soapbox and just say there are pieces of this that are rotten that I will get rid of. But there's plenty here that I can pull out and use to build other projects. Things I've really been studying are the importance of knots. And the reason that's relevant here is the dog kennel doesn't have a roof. It'll be somewhat of a temporary solution. But if I run a rope in between the buildings, perhaps with eye hooks on either end, or even just a screw with paracord and the right knots and tarp, I can make a ridge line and put the tarp over it to put a roof on the run. Will it be the permanent solution? No. I have no doubt that it's going to only last probably a couple of years, but it'll give me some time to figure things out. And it's easy to disassemble. So with that, I'm going to get back at it. But remember what I said. There's tons of things in this world that many people discard and throw away without a second thought that bring value. If not to you, think about Habitat for Humanity. I mean, don't take them your garbage, but there's plenty of things that make sense to go to, like the restores of the world or Salvation Army. Don't just throw it in a dumpster. There are some things that aren't, and you want to discard those. So I hope after watching this, people don't walk away and think, boy, he's crazy. You know, I'm reading all kinds of books on simplicity and it tells you to get rid of it. And that's all very true. You don't want to have more than you need. But getting stuff away is not about taking the easy path and throwing it in the garbage. There's a lot of people in this world we can help. Keep that in mind. Take a look already. Hinges and handle and different latches. And already, to replace those, I'm sure it'd be somewhere between 10 and 15 bucks. I've got some screws. That piece of AC2 that I pulled off is not at all rotten and could be applied somewhere. There's some pieces near the ground that may have seen some better days, but it's not too bad, and I can actually just rip that off. The one underneath it is definitely rotting. I'll have to look at that one a little more closely. And I can imagine some sort of shelf out of this. The inside is clean other than, hay and dirt, and if I spray that down, I can imagine this being used as a frame for something else. So we're going to try to salvage that. It's Sunday evening. I'm outdoors because now it's 70 degrees in Minnesota, a little windy, and I didn't get on the bike. I went back up to Minneapolis, St. Paul, did some picking this morning, finished up a 520-page book that I started on Friday, and finished the reclaiming that I started last season. I need to put a wall on the outside of this coop, but right behind me I've got where the roost used to be. I'm going to try to reuse that. Going to have to put a green treated floor on that, and there's the new coop that I built a couple seasons ago. Going to punch a hole out. I got a hole over there that's blocked, and I've got this dog kenneling that I'm going to run in between the coops. Maybe put a tarped roof over the top. We'll see. That might not be needed. Chickens are really good about staying around the yard. A lot of people ask me, how do you get all that stuff done? And there's tricks. Like, I listened to the book on audio when I was traveling, and I take out one piece at a time, try to do things well so I don't have to repeat them. This particular coop stood for 10, 12 years, and it wasn't made to do that. And the one that I showed you that needs the new sidewall, that's been up for 14 years. And of course, the one behind me has been only up for a couple years. If I had to do it over again, the first coop was one of the first I built, I would have used better siding. I mean, that's really been the Achilles heel. So if you're building a shed, you live in an agricultural area, use better siding than car siding, just because the more of those buildings you build, the harder it is to stay up on top of the paint and keep it from rotting. Use something like this, I don't know what it's called, but this concrete board siding. Pretty low maintenance. Gotta still paint it every once in a while, but it's not going to rot. And I've also got some steel that I'm going to use for some other projects. If the wife will want me to hook this up to be a roost again, it was kind of nice to be able to open the doors and get eggs. Might do that. I've got the little punch out hole there. It'd be pretty easy to knock that out and build a portal going into the big barn. How do I do it? One bite at a time, as they say, and I just don't give up, and I keep up on it. And most importantly, I have a large and good network of friends when I need a little help. There's the other key piece. Spend a little extra money on the right tools. You won't regret it. I'm going to show some of the demo. It would be super easy just to toss it, not because I'm cheap, but just because I'd hate to throw it or just burn it. I'm going to retry to claim some of these pieces and use them in other spots. That as I'm working on stuff, maybe I'll show you where they got reused. Some of it, like that rotten piece, I might be able to get some of it, but it might be too far gone. I'm gonna take a little bit of a cruise and enjoy the Jeep. I managed to get a panel up on the chicken run, did all that demo. I'm gonna treat myself to a nice cup of coffee. I'm too lazy to make it here. Besides, I've been enjoying this Jeep since we've been working on it. I'm in it now, and this is one of the more glorious things. how easy it starts. And not only that, the fuel gauge is showing full. That's crazy talk. Let's go for a little spin. For the first project today, I'm going to work with this, we'll call it inexpensive table. And unfortunately, it's been outside. We're going to clean it up. And I'm not going to do anything crazy. This is actually going to be used with the chickens. But I'm going to try to make it look nicer than it does now. And mainly, I'm going to focus on this top because I imagine we'll store stuff underneath and up on the surface in the coop, maybe feed and things like that. So I'm just going to clean this up and put some peel and stick tile on it and see if we can dress it up for the coop. I could have burned it. I could have taken it to the recycling center to be destroyed, but I'm going to try to upcycle this into something useful. I know I'm not going to do a perfect job, and there'll probably be a bunch of people that will be like, what are you doing? Or even, I might even get some comments on the fact I said burn this. I live on a hobby farm, and out in the farm, a lot of people burn lots of old stuff. I haven't done much of that other than trimmings from trees and things like that, but it happens all the time. And ultimately, if you take this to a recycling center and it's wood, they're going to burn it too. What I'm going to use, I had some extra peel and stick vinyl from another project in my wood shed. Now, normally you'd want to center this piece and have the seam going down the center of the table, but because this is a chicken coop project, I'm going to try to maximize the use of the vinyl as opposed to making it look aesthetically perfect. As we get to the edges, this is the proper tool for vinyl. I've got a T-square lined up. I'm going to just run a small cut, and then actually the tile will snap. Did that. Use that T-square to make sure I had a straight line. Ran it across, scored it, and as I bend it, you'll notice it snaps right into place. Not perfect, better than it was. I really didn't get perfect here. That's okay, I can be critical of that. It's just a small piece to pop out if I ever decided to, and I would if it were going in a house or something, but that's probably fine for chickens. We'll put our tools away and get a place. Here's where she landed. Hi, ladies. So you'll notice the walls are open right now. A few other chicken projects over the years. I've got some spare lumber. We'll close that up. Ladies have this nice run, and my wife's sense of humor, made out of dog kennel, and I need to do some repairs after 12 years, but they've got this other nice little building and another storage area that we're working on. What our ladies use for their home. Pretty happy chickens. Yeah. Nice little digs you got there. Here are some of our older hens and the other run and the rooster. Yeah. Keeping things in check. Huh? You keeping it in check? What do you think, Hobbsies? Oliver?